Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Arkansas and our 68th annual Summer Music Camp. We're delighted you're here and we've had a fantastic week with these young men and women seated before you. This is the Robert M. Bright Band, and we'll learn a little bit more about Mr. Bright and why this band bears his name in a moment. But I want you to know that we have had just the best time with these young men and women, and parents and guardians, give yourselves a raise. They have been exemplary in every way this week, so thank you for that. This band has been conducted this week by Chase Jones on the faculty here at the University of Arkansas and Kevin Zamborski, director of bands at Stillwater High School in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and their percussion specialist is Chris Shearer, also on staff here at the University of Arkansas. You will be treated to Choose Joy by Randall D. Standridge, Of Locks and Thistles, Christina Hull, Through the Storm by Gerard Hall, and Flashpoint by Tyler Akari. Ladies and gentlemen, please let an enthusiastic welcome to the Bright Band and Maestro Kevin Zamborski. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special presentation to make, and you're saying, well, why are you making it now? Well, the recipient is a member of the Bright Band, and so we thought this would be an appropriate time. The award is named the Dale and Chow Ragsdale Leadership Award, and you heard from Mr. Ragsdale just a couple of minutes ago that, you know, he was the camp director here for 15 years, and before that worked ever since he was here since 1975. He's just now retired, so he's done 50 years of full-time. Now he's going to half-time. We know that's a lie. Yeah, he'll be here 9/10 at least, maybe 10/10, knowing him. But the point is, he and his sweet bride, Dell, decided that this needed to happen. We needed to recognize outstanding leadership, particularly at this age level. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about their motivation for giving all this money, and then also to make the presentation to the recipient. So Chow, would you come and present your and Dale's award?
I'm going to embarrass my wife because I know she's here. Dale, would you stand up? 10 years ago, when I stopped being camp director, we decided at that time, one of the things that's unfunded at the camp is captain scholarships. Those simply, the money for that just has to come out of the tuition that all the students pay. And we thought it would be nice to start something towards making the captain scholarships be more self-sustaining. So we took, we've funded over the last 10 years and started off and funded a scholarship at the foundation, University Foundation, so it's there forever. And it pretty quickly got to a point where they could make an award equivalent to half tuition scholarship, and that'll continue to grow. When you make a scholarship, one of the hardest things is deciding how to award it. So kind of turned that over to the leadership of the camp to figure it out. And the way it worked out is that the counselors look at this year's captains, and based on their musicianship, but also their citizenship and what kind of person they are to work with in the dormitory, because that's very telling. That's at least as telling as whether or not you can play your 16th notes at 130 beats a minute. And so we're delighted in the way in which they make the award. And we're really honored to make this year's recipient is a clarinetist from Eufaula, Oklahoma. And Dale was a clarinetist, so we like that. Ava Neal.
Congratulations. Bravo. Looking forward to having you back next week.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Henderson, and I'm one of the head counselors at the Summer Music Camp. On behalf of the other head counselor, Laura Jean Merrick, and all the counselors back at the dorm, we want to say how wonderful your kids were this week and how we enjoyed taking care of them. They seem to have had a great time and could probably use a good night's rest in their own bed. I know that because I know I do. Summer Music Camp has a process that allows us to find leaders among the campers and then bring them back next year on a half-tuition scholarship as a captain where they will help us over at the dorms. We have several captains from this ensemble, so we ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been called. Students, if I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Nora Cooper from Woodland Junior High. Lanny Deathridge from Eufaula Middle School. Beckett Myers from Woodland Junior High. Nolan White from Stillwater Middle School, and Avon Lee from Owasso 7th Grade Center. Thank you very much.
Have you liked this program so far? Isn't the music spectacular? And aren't they doing a great job with it? I'm telling you. Wow. We have a time-honored tradition at summer music camp where we ask our faculty, the very first meeting at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, keep your eyes out, keep your ears open for the best, the finest, top of the shelf, you know, the cream of the crop. And then we ask them to do the impossible. Pick one outstanding musician from all of these musicians on stage who are all outstanding. And so it's an impossible task, but we put our heads together and we have come up with the one. Now, here's what you need to know, whoever the one is, in just a moment. The one will get a half-tuition scholarship to next summer's music camp. Congratulations. You'll also get a beautiful certificate, very calligraphied for you. Your name's on it already. And also, as soon as we can get the trophies across the pond, tariffs, we will get it to you somehow, no matter where you live, we promise, we will get you your trophy. That is a guarantee. Now, Robert M. Bright, legendary trumpet teacher at the University of Arkansas and legendary summer music camp director. And there is nobody on our faculty that knows more about Robert Bright than Chow Ragsdale. And so Chow's going to tell you a little bit about Professor Bright and why this band's name is so significant to all of us. And he will help the conductors present the Outstanding Musician Award to the Bright Band.
Y'all are going to get tired of me, but this is my last speaking engagement of the afternoon, I promise. But again, it's been such a pleasure for me to work with people I respect and like and enjoy being around and had fun with through the years. And I was privileged to work with Robert Bright for 25 of his 30 years that he was here. He took over music camp in 1970 when it was very troubled financially. Didn't know if we could really have a music camp. At that point, it was about 14 years old at that time, and Bob said, well, let me see what I can do with it. It probably had under 100 participants, and he built it up to 900. And he did it through philosophy. He did it through being dedicated to the idea that the students come first. It's not something we're doing for the good of the University of Arkansas first. It's not a recruiting ploy for us. It's first of all for these students. Secondly, for their teachers, so that we can be a part of their curriculum, give them something to work for. And third, for you parents as well, because I don't think you want to spend money sending your children to be recruited by us. That's not a thing. That's not a good business plan. So I followed that philosophy, and I think it's worked real well for us, and we owe it to Mr. Bright. Mr. Bright, I like to say, is the architect of music camp. It's his blueprint that we have followed in terms, again, of the philosophy and what we want to, the practicalities of the camp and how we want to serve students. So this is a significant award for me. I've spent my whole career paying back people who did great things for me. My mentors, and certainly Mr. Bright, Mr. Jansen, are among those that I try to give forward because they gave forward to me. So it's very significant, I think, to be representing Robert Bright with this award. So we'll have Chase Jones make that award now at this time, and I'm signing off this morning.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the outstanding musician for the Bright Band was a student who, from our first rehearsal, kind of stuck out as a very talented musician and engaged student in rehearsal, and that has just continued throughout camp this week. I've had the pleasure to work with a student in sectionals as we've gone through camp this week, and the musicianship and the talent is just off the charts, and also just you can tell he's a really very kind student as well. And so we are honored to give the Outstanding Musician Award for the Bright Band to Angel Haro from Owasso. Before we finish up our portion of today's concert, just wanted to thank a few people. First of all, you've seen him back there helping with percussion as our percussion coordinator for the Bright Band this week, Mr. Chris Scheer. Let's give Chris a round of applause. And then you only get to see this part of camp, but these students were involved in so many other activities throughout the week through the classes, led by other applied faculty and applied lessons teachers, all the counseling staff back at the dorm, the office staff that kind of makes all this run. And so there's so much work behind the scenes that you don't get to see at this performance tonight, but I just want to take a second to recognize all those folks and thank them for all that they've done to support these students this week. So let's give them a round of applause, please. And then finally, the most important people we need to thank is these fantastic young musicians on stage. They've been a joy to work with all week. They've been fun, they've been engaged, they've hopefully learned a lot, and we've had a great time working with them. So let's give another round of applause for these great students. And we hope you enjoy our final piece, Flashpoint.